Welcome back to another fireside chat with me and Andy from 43 Clicks North. Today we're going to be talking about creative a little bit more in depth. So the last conversation we had was around Andromeda and the algorithm update that Meta rolled out across 2025. Today we're going to be talking much more about why the shift to creative and the importance of creative diversification within your Meta account as well. So I'll start with asking Andy the question, which is why has Meta shifted towards creative as a targeting option rather than the good old interest targeting that we used to be able to do several years ago with the hyper personalization?
Yeah, it's quite simple. It's a better way of getting insight into a potential customer or who a user is. So back in the day, it was the best form of information you could find on someone at a time is someone has put in their profile, I'm interested in this, this and this. Great, well my product relates to that, I will target you.
Yeah.
What's happened since then is there are better forms of getting that insight. The main one now being the creative, because creative is the number one most important part of an ad that drives purchase behavior. So if that's what drives purchase behavior and they now have ability to understand the makeup of a creative and what's in it, if that's what's actually going to drive someone to buy rather than what I'm interested in, it makes complete sense to use that to inform how you target people.
And we talked about this last time, didn't we? But it's come about because Meta now has all the data it needs to be able to do that effectively. So over the last decade or so, it's been kind of collecting data on users, and it now knows better now than ever what people are engaging with, what people are liking and sharing or commenting. You know, what is it that keeps us on the platform? And because of that, it now knows, okay, well, actually, if we can find the right ad that matches that type of content, we're going to serve that to you because we're much more likely to be able to monetize that off the back of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if I can keep it on the platform, I can sell you ads. If I can't keep it on the platform, I can't sell you anything. You're getting your information from somewhere else. So if we can give you a better experience, it makes complete sense to make sure that we can use that to then try and monetize you.
So how is creative being the new targeting? What factor goes into it that Meta can look at and be able to go, yep, this type of creative is going to be good for this person over here?
There's quite a few different factors. So first off, you can look at, if you break down the creative, you can break it down into different elements. First one, let's start off with what's the format? Is it a static ad? Is it a video? If it's a video, what type of video is it? Is it a really professionally created advert essentially, or is it a direct-to-camera UGC? There's different types of creatives that people use. So from a video point of view, from a static point of view, what's the core visual object in the ad? Is it product? Is it a person? You can then start to understand what someone engages with more on that, what they like. Then you've got the layout. So do I have a big headline on it or not? Yeah. Do I have call outs there? What text on the advert? Are there any emotional cues in there as well? So there's all sorts of different elements in there rather than just it's a static or it's a video.
And we did a grid of this to demonstrate it to a business, didn't we? We said, look, all the different types of formats that you can have, all the different angles that you could go at, whether it's product led, whether it's lifestyle led, whether it's emotion led, you know, all these kind of different ways that Meta can kind of use to be able to target the creative. And I'm sure we came up with something like, you know, a couple of hundred different variations that you could essentially put into a Meta ad and get them to be able to target people with.
Yeah, the problem is you can't stick on a slide to show people there's that many different variations. There will be variations that no one has created yet.
Yeah.
So that's why you continually see different types of formats coming out as people look and go, what can I do to find out where's that step change? What will people engage with that they don't? Because everyone does the same creatives now.
And that changes with pop culture as well, because there's new things that come out. Memes 3 or 4 years ago were quite a big fad, and that was a commonplace to be able to use that within your marketing. Less so now, you still see them but you've got a lot more videos, a lot more GIFs, you know, and that will change it in terms of how we can target, right?
Yeah, it will, and there'll be different changes in styling based on. You're probably going to start off from an organic point of view, and that's what people engage with initially. It's what's the sort of content and the styling and the pacing within those that people and their preferences start to change towards. At one time, people were like really long form content. Then it's actually, no, it's down to short form content. So it's understanding the differences there and then going, how will you adapt your creative to meet those needs going forward?
Yeah, yeah. So is it a case of essentially trying to put out as much creative as you can to make sure you're hitting as many angles and connecting with as many people, or is it a little bit more about quality over quantity?
So there's a couple of factors here. So people will talk to you about creative volume, getting as many creatives as I can, creative diversity, different formats, different styles of creative. Both have the merits, but there's a bit missing in between, which is called creative velocity. Creative velocity is how quickly can you go from an insight to execution. So how quickly can you find out there's a particular type of reason why people buy our product, or there's a reason why people are really interested in the use case of the product. Mm-hmm. How quickly can we create something that fits that and get that out to market? So it's sort of like a happy medium between the two for me. You could have as much creative volume as you want, but if you're not talking to different people, all you're going to do is that creative will go to the same people. Yep. Because what Meta do now with the Andromeda update is if you have creatives that all look the same, but if you might have a really slight change of a slightly different product shot or a slight change to the headline, they will just group them all together and say, these are the same ad. They're not new creatives. That's where you then move into creative diversity, which is net new concepts. So can you create new concepts that talk to new people? Because if you can create a concept that talks to different types of user or a different reason why someone would buy it from you. So we might be interested in the same product. You buy it for a different reason to I do.
We saw that with a recent client, didn't we? We saw that back in November. Is hundreds of products, but when you look at their ad library, it's all exactly the same template. Mm-hmm. I think if there was a mixture of 2 templates within there, are probably across 150 different ads. And if you just looked at them, they were exactly the same ad. Mm-hmm. You know, to be honest, it meant you had to read the ad to know what the difference was between them. Yep. And that's like, so volume wise, great, but in terms of diversity, terrible.
Yeah. Wasn't a client at the time, now he's a client.
Yes. And now have plenty of creative diversity.
Yeah, yes. So there was a graphic that we did, which basically was rolling through their ad library, and you get a headache off it from, they just looked exactly the same. But that's because that's what they were getting briefed from their agency at the time of. They were going for creative diversity without understanding that what Andromeda's looking for is net new concepts.
Yeah.
So all they actually saw was their reach per user dropping off. So their impressions were similar. So this goes back to what we were talking about in the previous video. Everything looked fine, but they weren't getting the performance they want because all these ads were being grouped together, going to the exact same group of people. They weren't finding new people. So they weren't allowing the algorithm to explore. That's why what we said to them is you need creative diversity brought in, which is different concepts, which is now what we do for them.
And you're talking about net new concepts there. What do you mean by net new concept? We talked about kind of the format and kind of the layout, but I think there's a really key thing that most people miss, which is actually what's the messaging, what's the emotional connection you're actually trying to have with the user? How are you actually trying to sell the product? Yeah.
So a net new concept essentially is you could take one idea and go, how can I apply this to a different way of showing this to you? So you might have a static ad with, I've got a glass of water in here. It could be talking about the benefits of water. But then we could then look at how do I take that as a winning message and apply it to video? And we could go, okay, how can I get a UGC direct to camera? How could we take that to a highly polished version from a video point of view as well? But utilizing the same message, but extending it into a more engaging format. So that there's then 2 new concepts based around the same subject. Yep. You may engage with videos more. You might like UGCs. I might like statics. If you don't like this, if you don't really engage with statics, you're probably not going to see the static ad. So we've missed an opportunity to put our brand in front of you. By changing the format into a new concept, it gives us the opportunity to get in front of you.
Yeah. And then you get to overlay on top of that the reason people buy in terms of the problem solution kind of conversation as well. So stick with the water example, you may get one user who is very much more focused on hydration, as opposed to someone else who is very anti chemicals and other toxins that you get from, whether it may be juice or anything like that, processed food and stuff like that. So all of a sudden you've got, statics, video, UGC, high polished, all laid in and then multiplied because you've got a hydration angle and then you've got an anti-toxins angle as well. And they're the different concepts and different messaging we should be starting to introduce for people.
Yeah, it's taking it from a persona point of view and looking at that and going, what does this group of people need to know? What's their pain point? And then what's all the different ways we can communicate around that pain point with them across different ad formats, different concepts, different messaging, different layouts, to then make sure that how can we show as a brand we are consistently communicating with people around the pain point that they feel.
So we could summarize this by, it's about engaging with your users with the type of content that they typically engage with, whether that's video, static, with a message that actually connects to them and why they actually take the behaviours and make the decisions that they do, rather than ultimately is, you're interested in football, so I think you're my audience, I'm gonna throw my product in front of you. Kind of seems to make sense.
It's not rocket science.
Don't feel like it. So what's the cost of getting this wrong then? So when businesses are not doing this and they're not looking at multiple formats, they're not looking at multiple angles and messaging. So what's the cost of businesses getting this wrong?
Yeah, first one is the sales you do get are going to be more expensive. Second one, you're going to lose out on potential sales. And third one, which for me is the most important from looking at how do we grow you as a business, is you're going to miss the opportunity to put your brand in front of potential customers who your product is perfect for, that have the pain point pain points that your product solves, but they never ever hear about you because you're not communicating with them in a way that they want to be.
Yeah. Could be quite costly to a lot of brands.
Oh, very.
Brilliant. Guys, thanks very much for joining us again. Hopefully you found that really useful. If you did, again, please like, subscribe, ring the bell to make sure you get notifications of any new videos as well. And we'll be back again talking more creative strategy.